Beyond e-commerce, the future of sales and digital commerce integration. In this episode, Kramer, the founder of Cooperative Computing, reveals why traditional e-commerce platforms will soon be disrupted by agent-to-agent technologies. Through fascinating examples of next-generation commerce, you'll discover how to prepare your business for a future where sales and fulfillment become seamlessly integrated across multiple channels and locations. I'm your co-host Anthony Perl, and whether you're just starting your digital journey or looking to accelerate your existing efforts, it's time to get enabled digitally.
Kramer, I wanted to talk to you about the next area of focus, which is sales and commerce. It's the obvious follow-up to marketing, because once you've got people waving their hands saying, I'm interested, the next part is selling to them. How do you get enabled digitally in this space? Because there is a myriad of things that are going on in this space in particular.
Yeah. And so once you get your branding and marketing and that tool set, you get it digitally enabled and it's up and running and it's starting to flow through. The reason we break it into sales and commerce is because selling is one thing, commerce is another. And let me kind of describe why we split those apart. So if I want to buy something, what I like in the Amazon app is they got stick it in the cart, and then they've got the buy now button. One of those is a sale and one of those is commerce. And while that may be a way of us just differentiating the two components, it's important that we understand those two components. And what does that look like? So if you and I are saying, hey, we've got a baseball team that we're coaching, it might be rugby where you're at instead of baseball, right? So I'm coaching this team.
Cricket where I'm at.
There you go, cricket. So, and I want to make sure that I get the hats, that I get the shirts, that I get the cricket pants, if there is such a thing, and I get the right cleats, and there might be a glove involved, okay? And I may go to 4 different places to get that. And therefore, I may have 4 sales, but I want 1 commerce transaction. Because my goal is to see when are those things going to come through. And let's say your cricket league has 20 players. And those 20 players have different sizes. So I want to make certain they're coming. I want to know when they're going to get here, because those 20 guys are going to be nagging me all the time. Hey, coach, when am I getting my stuff? And I want to share it with them. I want them to know. And I only want them to know. I want their parents to know. That sales transaction of I bought it, okay? The commerce transaction that says I've shared it with the right people to let them know it's coming. The digital tools to do that are different than what we have in our hands today. And those digital tools that enable you to do what I just said, right? We've established I want what I want, when I wanted it, the value I want it. And now I also want to collaborate that purchase, sometimes with friends, sometimes with community, sometimes with folks that I'm doing something for. And those engines have to be adaptable to permit that to happen in a meaningful fashion. And what does that meaningful fashion look like? Well, at the personal commerce level, a lot of times we're doing that across our girlfriend group or the men's club and the prayer meeting group that we have, or whatever it is in our community that we're doing things with. And a lot of times we're sharing stuff there that is important for us as we dealt with that commerce transaction, right? And the things that we have to digitally enable that and the tools that we have to do so are advancing. I would say that this is an area where the most explicit change is starting to come about in the most relevant fashion. Amazon's been a leader of why that's occurring in the space that we're in, but I'm going to give kudos to WeChat. So if you spend any time in China, they've got an app called WeChat. You got to get invited. You got to register. You wire your bank, but you can literally do everything in there. You can pay your bills. You can buy a new husband. You can, everything you could possibly want to do, you can do in the WeChat app. Now, it also has this element to it that lets you take that sales transaction. I actually did the purchase, the commerce transaction, I now want to understand, when am I getting it? And do I have that commerce transaction aligned with other people around me? And this is what I think is exciting about the future. So what you want to do is make certain that those things that you bought for your cricket players go to their house, and that their parents unbox it, and that they crack it open and they get excited with their kids. And it's all because of you. They're going to remember that you did that and spent the time thinking about their kids to do that. What app would you do that with today?
Yeah, to do all of that, probably Amazon's the only one where you can order things on consistently and get them delivered at a consistent time. That's going to have most of what you need because it's got multiple shops.
And you want it delivered to 25 different houses. Can you do that in Amazon?
Yeah, you can.
Not very efficiently.
Not very efficiently. No, you'd have to actually order them separately, right?
100%.
You'd have to do it one by one and put it as some sort of special order.
100%. WeChat, I could do that. I could say, I want to buy 25, and I could tell it where I want it to go. I could put you in my friend network and say, these are the 3 friends that I wanted. Our future of this commerce transaction, you got the sale, you went ahead and you paid for it. Okay. Now you've got the commerce side of the transaction. I bought 25 and I bought them in this kit: hat, gloves, blah, blah, blah. This is a kit. You need to understand this is a kit. So when you ship it to that house, it shows up right. That commerce transaction, and to digitally enable that commerce transaction, there's a rare set of digital tools that are doing that today. That is the future that we're going to deal with as to what we want, and what we want, right? When we want it, at the value we want it. If we don't get to where that operational capacity lives on what we do with the markets we serve, and this goes into B2B sales as well. So that transaction is a huge differentiator in what we do today and how we actually do stuff. We would ship it to our house, just like we're a distribution center. I'd get 25, and I'd probably get 45 boxes. I'd crack them open, make certain they were all right. I'd stick them into the packaging that says this hat, these gloves, blah, blah, blah. These all go to Johnny. These go to Bob. These go to Jim. These go to Stuart, right? So you're the fulfillment center. You're cracking them open, right? You do not want that to continue. What you want in an accelerated economy is, I made the sale. Boom. I want the commerce transaction to know what I just wanted to do. I want order fulfillment centers to take those, package them together, and send them to the house, and stick a note on it that says, hey, from me to you with love, we're going to kick butt this year, right? That's the future that we want. And that future is coming. The digital enablement tools to do that, and the ability to have someone help you implement it. That's what we specialize in at Cooperative Computing.
And it is an area, I mean, be likened to an example if you've got a sports team and wanting to send lots of different things to, but from a business sense, you're wanting to fulfill multiple orders for clients who want things delivered to different places for lots of different reasons. And
Yes.
being able to fulfill that in an efficient way, and also understand that, you talk about the, delivery. Well, if I'm in one part of the country and you're in another part of the country, how you want that delivered is going to be from different centers, ideally, because, you don't want to pay the shed, particularly here we are in different countries, right? So if we want something delivered, something coming from your local store, driven down the road by an Uber to you is not a big deal. Coming it from your local store and driving it to the airport and then putting it on a plane and then getting from the plane to another delivery to me is a big cost, probably more than what the item itself is worth. So you have to actually work those. There's a lot of details to be worked out in order to get that. But the point really is from a sales perspective, you're sitting there going, I just want this to happen.
Yes. I just want sales and commerce to be digitally enabled. That's it. That's all I want. Right now, you bring up a good point. You and I were talking about the difference between, the West Coast and the East Coast of Australia. That's a 4-hour flight, right?
Yeah.
But you may often have someone who's got family on, both coasts, plus someone in the southern area. So you may want something delivered as a family event at all 3 of those locations, and timing matters. It doesn't do any good if I'm delivering, Valentine's Day. Do they have that in Sydney?
Yes.
Valentine's Day roses, right? And I've got to do some for my mother. I'm a great guy, so I'm going to do it for my wife. I'm a really good guy, so I'm going to do it for my 3 sisters. And I want those to all ship and deliver at the same time. Otherwise, at the next get together, someone's going to complain they got theirs first. Now the wife has to get hers first every time. That's just, but you want to make sure.
I was worried you were going to say the girlfriend has to get delivered at the same time. Well,
Yeah. So, that delivery process has to be a part of what you're talking about how that actually works and how you make certain that that gets done in a strategic fashion. Well, I was talking today with someone that's got a large global distribution center for auto parts across, 5 different, Spain, Brazil, France, New Zealand, and Belgium. Okay. And they've got to make sure these parts make it into their auto repair people on an efficient basis. And that effective rate of commerce, okay, what do I do to make certain it's making it to the right place on time and it's at the right value? And doing so in a very efficient manner so that you and I don't have to split the orders up, because we can do it. I'm going to go take these 5 things, I'm going to buy them, and I'm going to send it here. And then these 5 things, and then we're tracking those 5 things. And yes, Amazon's made it a little bit easier to see it in the app, but it's still a pain in the neck. It's a far cry from what we think we should be doing in the age of AI to make that happen. So you've got both regional delivery, I'm going to say Nashville level delivery, but global delivery is a big thing, especially in Eastern Europe. One of the things we don't see often here in America, we don't get the perspective, and this is due to a little bit of our own arrogance, but we don't get the perspective of what it looks like. When you go to Europe and you look at these countries, you can fly through 13 of them within 2.5. It's not like they're hundreds of hours apart. So when I want to ship things between these different countries and do so in an efficient manner, it should not be unexpected that you cannot do that, right? It should be highly efficient to do so in a manner that makes really relevant to the actual person making the purchase and the person fulfilling that commerce transaction, including store pickup if I want it. Because you may say, hey, I'm out on vacation for 2 weeks. Don't drop it at my house, but I would like to pick it up at, Banana Republic or wherever you might have actually got it from. So tell the checkout clerk there, I'm being facetious, that I'm going to go pick it up on Tuesday when I get back from vacation. So it's not sitting on my front doorstep at my house.
I want to delve into a little bit about the sales perspective of all of this as well, because sales is a very interesting space where we're seeing a lot of AI being utilized to answer sales calls. There's some that being maybe to make sales calls, but the value of receiving sales calls is, as when I've spoken to people who are utilizing this, is their ability to answer more calls, than anyone else, an individual can, is great. Their efficiency, their ability to stick to messages, if you're doing it right, they're not afraid to say that they're an AI and they can respond to lots of things and they keep learning along the way. How important is that being enabled in that space going to be for business? And, and where does that sit in relation to the human selling area?
Yeah. So if you think of the construct that we have iterated through, I want what I want when I wanted it, the value I wanted. Some of that is that back and forth process to make certain that I've got the right thing that I'm asking for. Some things are not as tricky, but if you think of colors of lipstick, I'm going to use that as an example. If you think of the colors of lipstick, I'm somewhat colorblind, but the difference between the 15 shades of red that you can buy and what it looks like against your skin type is super critical for people that understand how to use their makeup products. Okay. Now, that means that the business buyer, I'm a store, I do, let's say $3 million of turnover. And so I acquire these products. I want to get those products into my store. I want to make certain that the things that I'm getting into the store equal what I have. I never want to return it if I can get away from it when I'm a store shopkeeper. And the backbone of almost every economy isn't the massive people, It's the 400 small ones that are selling your product. It's the reason Ulta has become massive, because Ulta understood, I've got to figure out how to get my product into 20,000 people that are going to sell it. And I don't have to worry about a Sephora store to do it. Sephora's got its place, but as I am a person inside that transaction from a business buyer perspective, I want to engage three things. Knowledgeable, you got to understand what I'm asking you and understand how to help me with it. Two, do so quick. When you're a business owner, time is money for every minute and every second of your day. And three, you've got to think about the things I'm not going to think about. And therefore, the AI capability, I'm going to call this where digital sapiens show up, okay? Because I have to train them. They don't just show up and do everything you want them to do. Someone's got to train them. This is going to be critical for the B2B interactions. It's also crucial for B2C, but I think in the B2B world, and making certain that the buyer's getting what the buyer thinks they're going to get and doing so in a relatively efficient manner is going to be crucial. Let me talk through an example of what this looks like. So when you're in procurement today, and in procurement, I'm going to buy, let's say I'm going to buy screws, and I'm going to buy metal screws that are black, and I want to make certain that the metal turns are 14 turns and that it's 3.5 centimeters long. And that the metal turns, and I want to buy 2 million of those a month. I'm in the purchasing department. And so I say, that's what I want. Sample, I tested. I talked to my engineering department. Can I use these screws in my finished good manufacturing? Yes, you can, right? That whole transactional process should go away. I should send you what it is I need and scan it digitally, send it to you, let your machine look at it, let your machine match it against the spec, come back with what it looks like, give you a price quote, when is it going to be delivered? All of that transaction should happen in seconds. And get rid of this whole RFP process and this process and that process and the other process. 3 bids is so that I can intentionally not make the mistake of buying something that I could have gotten at a better price for the actual same material. And the 3 bids process is not an efficient process, because often I've constructed a wall between someone who's truly trying to meet my needs and me as a buyer trying to meet the business needs versus this interaction back and forth that's going to be crucial. Are you familiar with EDI, electronic data interchange, this whole methodology for exchanging, what I want back and forth with these digital documents?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was our first go around to how to automate this back and forth conversation around what it is that I think I want. Then you ship me a notification with an ASN telling me it's on its way, and back and forth, back and forth. The problem is, and we have tons of customers, when there's a glitch in the system, the thing just starts, burping on itself and creating problems. For example, all of a sudden I got 11,000 orders because some guy keyed something in wrong and it really meant, 1,100 orders. And so I'm rushing around trying to make sure my suppliers can help you manufacture that thing. What you really want to make certain we're doing is we're allowing that digital interchange to happen in a super efficient manner. To your point, that procurement process and the agentic methodology for those going back and forth, and there's now protocols that are starting to come in that will help us do this in a more efficient manner, are going to be crucial for how we actually digitally automate, and how we digitally enable and automate this economy. It's going to be super crucial. I believe there will be a time when the consumer market and the ability for a consumer to have at their fingertips, let's just say 100 of the same thing that gets to me at the right price point, the time I want it with the value I want it, that we want that really, really bad. And the ability for us to interact with that then backs up into the supply chain. So you and I want that. That means it goes to our actual suppliers. And quite often that's a distributor. And then that distributor has to get it from either a wholesaler or direct from a manufacturer. So this whole process of communicating that back and forth is like what do they call the conversation where I tell you something, then you tell someone else something, then they tell someone else something, right? That whole chain conversation is what happens every day. And we wonder why the error rate is greater than 12% in the translucency across that process. That whole food chain is going to get automated and turn into this digital communication process that you were talking about. It's going to be super crucial to the future.
And that's all for this episode of Get Enabled Digitally with Kramer from Cooperative Computing. If you found value in today's conversation about digital enablement, please subscribe and share with colleagues navigating their own transformation journey. For more insights on accelerating into the automated economy, check our show notes for resources and contact information. This show has been produced by podcastdoneforyou.online. I'm Anthony Perl, and until next time, keep moving forward to get enabled digitally.